tough market, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Good morning and welcome to another session of Earnings through NLP. Today the machines are parsing the analysts' calls from RPM International and Levi Strauss.
Levi Strauss announced results on April 6, 2022. Interesting facts picked up from the call. Levi's women's bottoms are up 21% versus previous year, with 501 being up 50% in the quarter. Global wholesale business was up 15%. U.S. wholesale business was up 23%, highest first quarter revenue in over a decade. Company is adding 300 more Target stores. Net revenues through digital channels up 16%, despite stores reopening, which was 25% of the first quarter revenues. Direct-to-consumer business is now 39% of net revenues, versus 36% a year ago. Company continues to expect double-digit net revenue growth of 11% to 13% for the year. Revenue growth in Asia drove operating profits up 53% with operating margins of 17%. Cotton is locked into the year and year-over-year increase in COGS on a full-year basis is about 5%. China, which is only 3% of the total business, was down mid-single digit, as a result of lockdowns. Machines also focused on the more qualitative remarks by management, flagging the following. All brands delivered growth, including the two value brands, Signature and Denizen. Company believes it may need to increase prices again in the second half of the year based on how costs are evolving. The largest market, US, remains very strong, up 24% versus prior year. Company gaining market share with the younger consumer too. Finally, we drilled down on specific items to see if there was enough relevant information. On cotton, current futures are above where the company locked in prices. On sales, the company is leveraging data science to try and tailor the consumer experience. On challenges, the company is flagging higher selling expenses, increased distribution expenses because of higher volumes and labor costs. On consumer, the company believes people have put a lot of money in the bank during the pandemic, and most of it is not out yet. Consumer confidence was higher in March than in January and February. Last, we used sentiment analysis to see how the analyst call sounded about specific topics. About sales, the sentiment was 60% positive. About prices, the sentiment was 60% positive. About growth, the sentiment was 83% positive. About outlook, the sentiment was 75% positive.
RPM International announced results on April 6, 2022. Interesting facts picked up from the call. Raw material costs were up 40% on average versus last year. Epoxy resin costs are up 70% year over year. In terms of resins, none is even 5% of total RPM's total raw materials. Machines also focused on the more qualitative remarks by management, flagging the following. Company doesn't expect positive EBIT and stronger margins year over year in consumer until the first quarter of the new fiscal year that starts in June. The biggest challenge for the company in the consumer business is supply. Construction and industrial maintenance activity are robust, energy markets have recovered, and consumer takeaway remains strong. Finally, we drilled down on specific items to see if there was enough relevant information. On prices, the consumer group continues to be impacted disproportionately by inflation, as well as supply chain issues in December and January. Furthermore, the company seeing volume growth in coating and construction products, even with a 12% price increase. On challenges, they have been impacted by freight disruptions over the last 2 quarters. Still expecting some challenges affecting some bio-based resins in Europe and India. On outlook, company is expecting sales growth of low teens in all their 4 business groups. Last, we used sentiment analysis to see how the analyst call sounded about specific topics. About sales, the sentiment was 53% positive. About prices, the sentiment was 60% negative. About costs, the sentiment was 60% negative. About growth, the sentiment was 76% positive. I hope you found today's updates helpful. If you want to learn how to build your own algorithms, you can check our free YouTube channel where we post hands-on courses about how to build them, or get the book that is looking at multiple types of investment algorithms, or feel free to check our small group customized lessons for something more personalized.